Hello, today I have a video for you that will be going over some out-of-map secrets in Destiny 2. We'll be covering developer secrets, unsolved mysteries, oddities, and curiosities. I'll be using a private tool to view Destiny 2 map data in a 3D render view. The scope of this video will be limited to content that is no longer in active development, so there will be absolutely no spoilers, no leaks, nothing from episode Act 1, episode Act 2, and not even the final shape. Though I haven't exactly found anything particularly interesting in the final shape campaign itself, if I'm being honest. I had a look around, and there was nothing really that fit the scope of this video anyways. So I have been playing Destiny since about Season of Plunder. I did play briefly back whenever it first came to PC with the first 3 campaigns as free-to-play. So bear that in mind, that I was not around for a lot of the early development of this game. And I will try to be as accurate as I can with my information, but there's going to be some subjective stuff in here. Feel free to leave comments pointing out places I may be wrong or other theories. With that said, let's get started. So, with all that out of the way, let's start off with this very first area here. And of course it makes sense we'd start off with one of the most mysterious and alluring areas in all of Destiny 2, and that is the Dark Forest. Specifically, the end here with the Shard. Or, as everybody believes it to be, the Shard. If you are coming in here with this notion preconceived that this is the area in vanilla Red War Destiny 2 where we came and we got our light powers back, and I have news for you. I see that being talked about all the time. That's wrong. This area was actually not used for that. It's sort of a Destiny Mandela effect we got going on here. Whoa, the camera's being weird. Okay, this area actually wasn't even available in the Red War campaign. This area was added as an adventure, I believe sometime in 2018, maybe late 2017. I don't know. I vaguely remember doing this part. Basically, you just fight through the portals and you fight all these Taken and these Scions. And that's it. This comes from an adventure. Remember those? Yeah, this was just an adventure and nothing else. The actual area where we got our light powers back at the Shard of the Traveler was in an area called the Blackened Forest, which is probably where the mix-up comes from. The Dark Forest, the Blackened Forest, very similar names. Now, when this area was released, when it was playable as an adventure, people didn't discover this, but in Beyond Light, it started off with a hacker actually discovering this little area over here, this lift, going up, and then breaking through the box and hitting the load to G-pools, or galaxy pools. And we can pull up the barriers here. So we can see, here's the box barrier, the pink, and this turnback barrier that just barely covers this ledge and barely covers the journey over there. So we're going to turn off the turnback. We're going to leave the box here because I'm going to show sort of what is supposed to happen here. We have our entity on, so we're going to turn on our node visualization. And here we have this invisible entity. If we go into the inspector here, there's not really anything useful to see about it. This is likely the grav lift itself. So it works like this. We go into the grav lift, it takes us up, and there's this box barrier right here that we can't get through. And just barely on the other side of it, still continuing on in the grav lift. Let's see which one. Yes, it's this one. This is the unnamed lode that you hit. That is a transition between the Dark Forest and Galaxy Pools. Wait, no, this isn't it. There we go. This is the one. And this one's kind of remarkable. Like, we can see that the box is literally just the tunnel, but it goes really high. But just the tunnel that takes you up there. Ignore those flashing lights. We'll come back to that. Don't worry, we'll come back to that. But as you begin to leave the Dark Forest behind, a lot of this stuff actually gets unloaded. You really just have a really base representation of this final area, and then everything else is gone. And then there's this tunnel to nowhere. Random floating rock. Some kind of invisible entity out here. I don't know what this is about. And then a respawn point? That's weird. I'm sure that might become relevant later. So, once you hit that lode and get pulled up to the G pools lode, it drops you in around here, where we have just this stack of invisible entities that are all identical. That might have something to do with continuing the tunnel, sort of. I don't know. But we go down here, and we have Galaxy Pools. I'll turn off the mat cap so you get a nice, good view of it here. It's a glorious natural lighting. Now, about those lights. I'll have to turn mat cap back on. So, nobody really knows what this is about. As far as I can tell, nobody knows. There's a part coming up that might stoke some theories that it may be related to one of the next areas I'm going to show here. But we'll get to that. We see that these are entities, these are not static objects. And if I actually select the entity, I could actually change the color of them, which is peculiar indeed. That's not the right one. There we go, that one. It's blue, red. Very interesting. What's that about? I don't know. And you might be thinking, I've been to Galaxy Pools and I've never seen that. Well, the thing is, you can. You can see these lights in-game. And I have seen it done on exactly one YouTube video, but that was by somebody using hacks to get up there. And if you want to be the first to go see those and put up a legitimate clip on YouTube of you reaching those lights in-game, I will give you some pointers real quick. We're going to put on our turn back and our instant kill, and we have the box on. So the whole area is surrounded by turn back zones, and top and bottom have a kill box. However, there is space between the edge of the turn back and the box edge. Plenty of space, actually, for you to get up and go see this. That is beyond my skill level to accomplish myself, because this is a pretty hefty turn back barrier there. But I have shatter skated through it before and gotten to the other side, where I just fall down to the true edge and kill myself. And believe me, there is not a lot of room between, or not the true edge, but the box floor, yeah. There's not a lot of room between the kill barrier and the box floor, so not a lot of room to fall there. But I don't have navigator. Theoretically, you could shatter skate out, and if you line it up correctly, you could then navigate or fly all the way up to the lights. Another option would be to bring a sparrow and sync box out and then go around and up, but we can't see the true edge here, so I can't tell you how much room you have to work with. Quick interruption here, because I realized after I recorded that I said skate into a grapple, which obviously cannot be done. Just was spitballing ideas and didn't think about that one too carefully. That wouldn't work. But what you could do to get past this is a horizontal mountaintop stack launch into a grapple fly with navigator out in this direction, which is really hard to orient yourself, so it would take a few tries. So that could get a little sketchy, and then of course getting the sparrow here in the first place is kind of annoying, so best of luck to anybody who decides to attempt that. And of course there's the rock. The rock you see as you're initially flying into galaxy pools. Now then, let's get a different perspective on these lights here. Where else do they show up? There's actually, yes, they show up in the unnamed load for the Dark Forest. But where else? What about this missing string? What do we have here? This is going to blow some minds if you haven't heard about this before. This is an entire, completely unused area known as Shard. And it's not known by that as anything internally, just by the community. The entities are a little dense here, so I'm going to get rid of those. Rumor has it that there was an internal dev build that somebody got a chance to see where this area was much further along. As it is, we really have no idea what this could be, what it could have been used for. It's just weird. And you see those lights over there at the very end, so that could have been some kind of dynamic scenery object meant just for this area that for some reason shows up in the other areas. It could mean these areas are all linked somehow. We can see a cave back here, and I believe contextually this would be going backwards through whatever mission this would have been linked to. Go through the cave for a while. You get dead in there. You can go in here. And this seems to be about the end of it. This has some dead ends here with some respawn points out there. This is likely where you would load into this area by somehow going through some cave systems or something. It's hard to say. You might be thinking, well, maybe there's a load zone there. Maybe there you can hit it from outside a map, but it is extremely unlikely, not just because of how far out of the Dark Forest we are here. See, these are the same coordinates. Those respawn points are here for some reason, as well as one little light beam, which doesn't have an entity attached to it. Anyways, it's not just really far out here, but there is no global ground, and I will get back to that. Actually, that's where I'm going next, but there's no global ground, which you would need to transition between loads in almost every occasion. There are very few occasions where that doesn't happen, such as that direct warp up there. And while I guess that's like theoretically possible, it's extraordinarily unlikely. I'm going to show you another interesting something. So, this is global ground, accessible in the EDZ, in the Dark Forest. And what's really weird about this global ground is it shouldn't be here, because this connects us to what's left of Quarantine Sector 236, which is where we're going next. So you can actually, if you box breach, you can actually come over here using like a quantum sparrow or like the traditional method of getting out of the Dark Forest, the sync box. You can come over here and you can load in to Quarantine Sector 236, which was the actual mission where we gained our light. And now here we are in Quarantine 236. In this little area, I don't think this was actually in here. I only played through the mission once, but I don't remember this weird, like, darkness lotus pond here. This could have been part of the adventure or something, I don't know, but it's completely inaccessible by normal means through the dark forest. And then when you get here, what? I don't know. You can jump out a map, and you can actually slide on into the box over here and get into what's left of Quarantine Sector. Now, most of this area has been completely cut. You cannot actually go to where the Shard of the Traveler and the Light cutscene were. Why they decided to hack away at this area while leaving this particular part of it intact, I don't know. Why not just cut the whole thing, right? Maybe Quarantine Sector 236 is just one blue coconut. I don't know. But this whole area is still intact. Normally in the mission, you'd come down here past this ship, you'd fight some Fallen, and then you'd go through some more areas, and the Shard of the Traveler would be around there somewhere, I think. I don't know, but now it's just all death planes and dead respawn points. Very interesting. Also, if you box break out here, you can destroy these trees with melee attacks, because they are not static meshes. They are, in fact, entities. Not all the trees, but a good handful of them. It's very odd. Very, very odd. That's about it for this part of the EDZ. I do have some more stuff to show in the EDZ, so I'm going to cut it here and come back in just a second. So, I've been pretty obsessed with Destiny 2 secrets and cut content and that sort of thing for some time now. And I have watched so many icebergs and out of bounds videos and cut content videos. And it surprises me just how much of this stuff I've never seen covered. Here we are, still in the EDZ at Hangman's Pass, which was an area briefly used in, I think, the Curse of Osiris campaign. Down there is where you find Segura's shell. Inside that facility, you can actually still get here in patrol just fine. There's nothing really to see or do. Nothing is interactable. There's no enemies out here. Froggy has a guide on breaking out with Blade Barrage that is relatively simple, especially now that you could use Strand instead of having the Sparrow Fly if you don't quite have Sparrow flying down. But one interesting thing to note about this area is this tunnel here. Apparently, when the game first came out, there actually was no box barrier blocking this off, and they added one at some point. I don't have a lot of information on that, but even though these rocks have always been here, there wasn't always a box. And this tunnel actually goes pretty far, and it's got all this detail, like the cars and stuff. And it goes down here, so it's very likely that at some point in development this would have been used as a transition to a different area of some kind. But as of now, there is no load zone at the end. It's not easy to get over there either. I guess you could bring a quantum skimmer here, and box break with an up box. Get over there. But I've only seen people doing it with the, what was it called? The pocket finisher? Was that the name? I don't know. The glitched finisher. Glitch lets you phase through geometry, which has since long been patched. There's another oddity way out here in the distance. Not sure exactly where this is going to be, but if we look, is that kill barrier going to render? Yes, all this water is kill barrier. All of it. It goes for a long, long way. And even the parts that aren't kill barrier are inside turnback zones. This turnback zone stretches for a long, long way. Which means that even if this next load zone exists, even if you get a quantum skimmer out here and try to hit it, it's probably going to be impossible for us to get to where we're going next, which is the sunken catch. Already, this is looking wild, and it is. You would enter through this door here, ignore those out-of-bounds boxes. And like these walls, these are completely untextured. Like this is actually what it would look like if you got here in game, just completely untextured, just nothing. Make our way through the ship, and through the window we see something very interesting. And we're going to go there. Through this door, we have prototype fallen walkers, like we have never ever seen in the game before. This is absolutely insane. That this is just here, that we can just see this, but can't actually go there. It's just a long series of fallen catch passages until you reach the bridge, which is quite peculiar because this looks a lot like the bridge from Marsov's ship in Destiny 1, except it's clearly underwater. If we go out here, we see all little fishies. But it doesn't make any sense that this would be like a fallen catch with fallen walkers, and then suddenly it's an awoken bridge. Some of these assets could have just been placeholders. This is almost certainly meant to be a fallen catch. There was some speculation that this was Mara's crashed ship on the EDZ, but since she crashed nowhere near Earth, I doubt it. It didn't really crash, more like just completely exploded. This is likely just a placeholder. And that's almost it for the EDZ. There's a little bit more here I can show. Nothing major. Nothing major is going on. This one's a little weird. This seems to just be like some sort of transition area. Very unfinished. As far as I can tell, this is all that's loaded out here. Nothing else seems to actually be loaded in anywhere in this load zone, except a few ships. Yeah, really nothing out here, except for this. Looks like this might be between the sludge and, I don't remember the name of the next area, but Winding Cove, maybe? I don't know. Entrance to a lost sector, perhaps. There's also a thing for meditation grounds here. Let's see if I can get to it. Yeah, all that's out here is just this pool of water. Nothing else. Just a pool of water under meditation grounds. We'll be coming back to that name, though, shortly. A fun little thing we can do here in Out is actually see the startup screens for Destiny 2. And we also get ship transitions, which is just wild to get a full view of. Just the scale of it, and you can see how exactly they arrange these things to get these sort of visual effects that they do. I'm not going to go through all of them, but I'll show a few. That one doesn't have anything. What else we got? Can go back here. See just this whole sphere of visual effects. They change colors and scenery objects and such. We got a lot of them. So here we are in the Cosmodrome now, and if you recognize this area from the strike, I'm sure this is evoking emotions of pure rage and anguish at the moment, thinking about running the lightning that just has ridiculous hitboxes on it. But if we take a step back and get oriented, down from there, you may have noticed this door with this room behind it on your way in. And there is no way to open this door. No way at all. Come on. Clear my click. Come on. Ah, well, whatever. If we go through here, this area is actually from Destiny 1. And you can actually get in here with a wall breach and some load zone manipulation. And this thing right here is actually still scannable, though it doesn't do anything. And these doors do work. You can go right down this hallway into this room right here, and that's it. You can go in here if you want. You can eager edge through those pipes in the ceiling once you get out of map, which there are plenty of ways to do. The easiest is probably the Velis Labyrinth hole, or clipping through with a Sparrow Breach under the boat, then coming over here through and triggering the grottos and then the mine load zone. See? Here's the mine. Some abandoned things just kind of floating out here. That's weird. Normally, there would be a load zone right in there. And that is where we're going next, if I can find it. What is that load called? I can't remember the name of it. Am I missing something? Hang on. Give me a second. Let me find this. This doesn't make any sense. No. What? I don't think this is Temple of the Cunning. That's weird. Anyways. That's weird. That's weirder. I don't know what that is. Ah, here we go. This is where I was trying to get to. Some more cut content. Some more Destiny 1 material. Which, I only ever played the beta of that game. So, I don't know what this is exactly. Just that it is from D1. And, unfortunately, while you can get to this entrance here in game, if we turn on our box viewer, it's right there. And there is no way to get all the way over here, sadly. And surprisingly, that's about it for Cosmodrome, really. I mean, there's this, let's go back to, what am I looking for? Dry Sea. That's not right. I don't think that's right. Hang on. Is that right? Oh yeah, you can get out of bounds here and also get to the sort of the preload area for where we just were, which normally has a blocked door here inside the building. But you can get out of bounds and you can actually climb up in here. Again, using either of those holes I mentioned before. It's just an open door right here. You can just hop on in. Hey, that's it for Cosmodrome. So here we have one of the exo challenges. So the thing about all the exo challenges is The box, there is no box, okay, and the kill barrier is rather easy to get over. I believe this one in particular does spawn you in without any heavy ammo, so you would have to use some other movement tech to sort of get by, and you would have to do it from the very beginning before the biting cold gets to you. But then the plane itself is flat, so it's easy to just go under here, and there's a large explorable area. The other two challenges are a bit more forgiving for getting out of, but this one has something those two don't. You can actually find this in-game. It is a dev model, a primitive model, along with a very primitive weapon. And it is actually shaded like this in-game too. Quite strange. Now for the part of the video I know everybody has just been dying for. Gambit. Just a little look at the drifter ship and this weird object that's sort of flying around outside of it. And there's more than one. I don't know what that's about. Anyways, you'll start off in this ship and then teleport. And how far away is it? Really far away. There's the map bounds itself, covered. Kill barriers. Naturally. Why would you expect anything else? Not a lot to show in map, but we can go up to these hentai ships, I mean spaceships, and see what's going on with all these tentacles. And by see what's going on, I mean leave with more questions than you ever thought you would have to ask. They just really go right through it, don't they? I'm gonna leave that one. There is enough content in King's Fall to make an entire hour-and-a-half video by itself, and I am not going to do that. We are just going to come to this Basilica War Priest room here and show one little oddity out here. And I've seen people get to this legitimately as well, but really far out of map. Backwards. This doesn't exist in any other load zone. Is... some kind of orb? This is probably related to some kind of unused encounter or mechanic, or maybe even the Catalyst quest, for all I know. But the point is, the only way you can see it is by getting way, way out here. Here's a weird one on the moon. This is an entire load zone, and all that's in it is just this pyramid ship door with some rocks in front of it and a mysterious box floating off in the sky. A little dev cube of sorts. Yeah, not really sure what the point of this is. We have some more unnamed loads here, but I don't think I found anything interesting in them. Oh, here we go. Yeah, this is yeah, we've been here. This isn't anything too strange. I do remember seeing something else. I think it was Sar's Harbor. Oh, well, it's not doing it now. Last time I went here. Oh, there they are. That was odd. Moving on. Moving on to Nessus now. And this also was one of those places that was kind of early on in development, since it was a year one area that we still have access to. So there's a few oddities here, but nowhere near the same level as like the EDZ. But this first one that's up is actually related to Season of the Forge, and it's one of those places where you yet again can get there and patrol legitimately with a little bit of out of map shenanigans. See, normally there's a kill barrier, quote, here, but it's actually the box. And that box has a funnel. So, with a little care and sword flying, you can actually follow this funnel all the way over here. And this will take you to Izanami Forge's load zone. And this is sort of the preload area, the global ground area. And normally, if you get this close, it's gonna links error you. So this is all you can see of it from patrol in game. But here and now, go a little further, and we can actually see what's left, the entrance to Izanami Forge. It's not much. Interesting. There is a load zone here, just called Nessus. And this is probably the planet I've spent the least amount of time on, if we're not counting Cistern Gang shenanigans. So I don't really know what this is supposed to be. That's some kind of teleporter, maybe? If we go over here, there's just another little playable area, but I don't remember ever being here. And there's not really anything here to do. I don't know if there are any load zones that connect to this from the outside world. If you have any information, please feel free to correct me. Still on Nessus, we have this unnamed load, which is mostly just like an incomplete half of Watcher's Grave, I think. A lot of the geometry from Watcher's Grave is here, and then it just abruptly cuts off. So this is like a half-finished state. I don't know why they left it here like this. It's kind of odd. This was a fun little find in the Prison of Elders. This is, I believe, just a cutscene load. It is unnamed. I believe it's only used for a cutscene. And you might be thinking, well, what cutscene? Well, when they reintroduced the Forsaken to the timeline, just that one mission, I believe this got added back in. And, nope, I went the wrong way. If you carry on through the doors here, it'll just abruptly end, but then if you keep going, first off, I don't know what that's about, but if you go up here, you may start to recognize this. Yep, that's a dead body. There's nothing under the sheet, but I know you wanted to look. Weirdo. Now on to the Helm, where we have a few things to look at here. First off is way off in the distance here. We have this named area unknown. I'm pretty sure that this is just left over from Season of the Wish. If we go up here to the ship itself, this looks like left over from Season of the Witch. Of course, the helm itself is absolutely riddled with kill barriers. Mystery portal thing is still there. That's not going anywhere anytime soon. It's been there forever. It's another blue coconut. And right now there's not much to show off in the helm that we haven't already seen. Like, this is all pretty standard stuff. There is just one little thing I wanted to poke at over here because I've seen it mentioned on Raid Secrets a few times now, and it is this engram-shaped thing. A lot of people weren't sure what it was because it was somehow glitching into being viewable, but from what I can see, from what it looks like to me, this is just like a container for some of the research specimens that you pick up as part of the quest. I don't think this is anything particularly crazy. Now on to the EAZ real quick. I believe that this activity will be coming up again soon and is accessible in the game files at the moment, and there is something rather peculiar to show you. I've seen it covered before. This is an area that has never been reached outside of hacking, and that is because there is a massive kill barrier all around it. But just below the kill barrier, this is going to take me a few tries to find probably, but this place used to not be covered with rocks, but they covered the entrance with rocks. First off, there is this little cave here. Again, covered in kill barrier. Can't actually get here. But it's very odd that it runs around the island like this, sort of. And then just ends abruptly. But the part I'm wanting to show is up here somewhere. If I could quit getting disoriented by my mouse moving around, that would be great. There it is. Okay, so sort of where this fallen tree is where we're looking to get to. And yeah, there used to not be this rock here at all. It just wasn't there. You could just go through it, through this tunnel, and cat statue. Can't really interact with it or do anything down here. Nobody really knows what the purpose was or why Bungie is covering it up, but there is a secret room with a cat statue underneath the EAZ that has been there all along. And you know what? I think this cat deserves some glory. There we go. This is it. This is the next event. Worship the cat. Cat Island in the sky. It's perfect. Well, that about wraps it up. So far, that's about all of the interesting things I've managed to find. However, these maps are absolutely massive, and there is almost certainly a lot of stuff I am missing. So, if you know of anything else, please leave it in the comments, especially if you have footage. Hope you enjoyed. Thank you.